Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for being here today. I'm very, very excited to interview Monique tonight because for those of you who doesn't know yet, so I interviewed Monique last year. I think I'm not sure when was that. When you were just, I think, 5 months into Amazon selling, and that
Yeah.
time she managed to hit
Wow.
9K, right? Like in sales per month. And after a year of, trying and working hard, I asked Monique how is she doing, and she said she's already on the 55K on her business. So 55K in sales every single month. Working full time in a corporate job, which is also in the e-commerce business, right? But it's a big company. So this is separate from that. Monique is working on her own company to build it, and I'm curious of what she's gonna answer when I ask some of the questions, right? So I'm
Mhm.
very excited to see Monique. So for you guys who are here live today, if you can type your questions. So I want to see questions. This is your chance to ask Monique any questions you want. I want you guys to make sure that you can get as much as you can value from Monique tonight. Monique is one of those that consistently always there during the live, like, and that's the reason why I never doubt that her success will gonna be coming soon because of that. Monique has been in my coaching. So how long have you been in my
I started in your program last February, so 2023 in February, and I think we had a conversation in January of last year uh, for when I made the decision to join that beginner group with you.
Okay, so yeah. So I clearly remember still when Monique asked me those questions. Monique was like, I need to see your face, right? And I do understand that some, whenever they try to buy the course, they're a little bit hesitant. So they need to see my face to make sure that, I'm real, right? And I don't do that often, but for if that will make them feel comfortable, I do that. So I meet up with Monique, and then she asked me so many questions and I have so much doubts. I don't know, there's so many scam in the internet. I don't know what's real and not. So I wanna see you. So she asked a lot of questions, and then after that, she said, "Okay, I'll be signing up." Right. So, anyways, so the rest is history for Monique. So today, before I start, I'm gonna ask Monique actually to introduce herself. Like, Monique, let me know. Like, tell me about yourself. What did you do before? Just a recap for those who doesn't know you yet. So what did you
Mhm.
do before doing Amazon? What's your full-time job? How did you discover Amazon selling and stuff like that?
Yeah, for sure. So, hi everyone. I'm Monique, and I'm in just outside of Toronto, Ontario, and Cambridge. So, I am a Canadian seller. I sell in the Canadian and US markets. I have been an Amazon seller for now 18 months. Um, Prior to being an Amazon seller, I am still actually working in a corporate job in e-commerce as well. So for a large US brand, but I oversee the all of North America. So from a merchandising and site operations perspective, that's what I do in my full-time job during the day. And I still do that to this day, as well as running my Amazon stores.
Okay, so thank you so much for the introduction. So I want to do the confirmation through you. Like, so how much do you sell now every single month?
Yep, my monthly sales combined are 55,000 gross.
Okay, so combined, that means US and Canada, right? So
Yep.
when did
Yes.
you start US selling?
January of this year.
January of this year.
This
So
January,
so
yeah.
would you say that your sales, like, what is it now? Like, do you sell half
I would
Canada, half?
say 80-20. So I'm still like 80% Canada and 20% US. And I like that because, well, because you get paid faster in Canada, but I do like the bump that you get when you're selling in the US with the exchange rate. So For me, I can cash out every 24 hours on my Amazon store and take that money to reinvest, which is great. So because of that, you never want to stop shipping, right? Because you constantly need to be shipping product into the Amazon store so that you can hurry up and get selling. So there's a time delay, right, from the time you sell a product and the time you get paid out from the stores. So yeah, 80-20. That's where I'm at right now. Maybe next year it'll be 50-50. We'll see. I'm still growing both stores, so I'm working at it.
Wow. So I'm actually excited for you to see the potential for US, right? So I keep on pushing you to do US because so for me, like a lot of the high profits, to be honest, is in the US, right? Because um like it's bigger market. That's the truth. And with the technique that I've been teaching, which is selling Canadian products in the US, the best part of that is that it's a higher demand but less products because it's
Yep.
harder for us Canadian. There's a limitation on how much we can send every single day to the US, right? So because of that, not all like there's not gonna be enough sellers for a lot of listings. So it makes it more better in terms of profit. And yes, with the conversion, right? So that's something that I'm encouraging you to really push it because I think that you can hit like 100K a month if you really are consistent. So that's what I would suggest for you to do that. Okay, so with that 55K, how much is the like the profit or the net profit or ROI, whatever you're comfortable with, because
Yeah,
a lot of people are actually like usually would say like online that's a big issue, right? That they say, oh, like most of it goes to the payment fees and stuff, but actually I want to actually address that a bit so that for people who are watching, yes, Amazon takes fees, but you need to understand a lot of people don't know that those people who are signing up with Prime, they say, oh, Prime free shipping. Guess what? It's on us who are the sellers. If we are third party sellers, we cover that, right? But if you also think about it, there's no, if you are going to have your own Shopify account, right? So if you have your own store, Shopify account, you actually need a lot of money for marketing to be able to make the sale. And that's what we're paying Amazon for. That's the reason why there's big fees because Amazon also needs to make sure that whenever a customer types product, they would find us, right? So they would find Amazon on the first page of Google, and that's what we're paying for. So with you, Monique, how much money do you actually get at the end of all the fees and expenses?
Yeah. So net in the bank is around 14-15% right now. I'm focusing hard on growing that net margins. I'm looking for 20% net margins, but that equates to around $7,500 net in the bank every month.
Wow, 7,500 and working part time, right? So that's amazing.
I don't know if you call it part time.
well,
I mean, I
well,
feel like I'm doing two full-time jobs.
that's true, right? So to be honest, it's Amazon selling. A lot of people think that it's actually just like a passive income, right? But it's actually a lot of work, and that's what it is. If you want to make money, you got to do the work. Like there's no such thing as easy money. If it's easy money, it's too easy. That means like it's almost like you need to doubt it, right? But if you
Yeah.
put the work, Monique here is a living testament that she is doing everything she can to be able to make that money, 7,500 a month net in the bank after so more or less, right? So wow, that's an amazing extra money for you, aside from your full-time job, right? Where can you find that kind of opportunity? Like if you want a side hustle, you can have like 1,000 a month. That's doable. Actually, that's very easy to make in Amazon, if you really just know what you're doing, right? So having said that, okay, so are you still focused? So I want to know, what's your strategy right now? Are you still focused 100% arbitrage, or are you combining it already with wholesale? Are you doing private label? What's your strategy?
So not private label, although that's where it kind of led me down this path into Amazon selling at the very, very, very beginning. When I was researching it, I was interested in creating my own private label. And then I found third-party sellers and FBA on Amazon. So then I started focusing on that, since I knew just from the information I was finding made more sense for me. So I guess my focus for the future, or right now, is still OA, predominantly OA. I would say 90% is OA and maybe 10% OA. And for those of you who don't know, OA is online arbitrage. RA is retail arbitrage, which is going into the stores and scanning products right off the shelves. So I do a little bit of both, but it's time, right? So I would probably do a little bit more RA, and I do find things when I'm out and about, but I need that extra hour. And sometimes I have it in my life and sometimes I don't. I am interested in wholesale, and I have one wholesale account right now that I'm working with, and I hope to transition. I just got to get through this quarter, to be honest with you, and really hunker down and focus on wholesale accounts. And I'd like to transition my business completely to wholesale in the new year.
Wow. So I think that's doable because you've been selling for a long time. I don't recommend people doing wholesale right in the beginning when you're a newbie, but for your experience, I think you have enough experience to know like if the listings are viable or not, and you can do very well with wholesale as well. So if you remember my students, Tony and Vicky, that's what they did too, right? So they hit 1 million on the first year as an Amazon seller doing a lot of retail arbitrage actually. But after that, they start to transition into wholesale as well because wholesale is gonna be making your life easy, especially with you, Monique, that you are working full time and you are doing a lot of buying online. This is the best part for you. But are you doing Prep Center already or no? So Prep Center is for those.
So
Yes.
Believe it or not, I'm not. I'm doing it all myself. And that's because I want to protect my margins. So I've interviewed prep centers and I've thought about it. But once I start looking at those fees, I'm like, forget it. I got free labor at home. My husband and my kid, they can help me label, prep, and pack. And there's a little bit of control associated with it as well. So we can look at our products, make sure there's no boxes are damaged. We can look at expiration dates. We can make sure everything is perfect without having to rely on a prep center. I know I'm already at my wit's end with touching product every day. So to be honest with you, I am ready, like, and I will, like, I've already committed in my mind, like, I'm not going to let that, I'm not going to keep doing, protecting my margins like this, the way I have been. I've got to let go and hire out a prep center, and I will, but I'm going to do it. I've decided mid-February. I'm going to make the transition and it's going to happen now.
Okay, so I'll wait for that.
I know people ask about prep centers all the time and they're like, when should you do it? And I say, when you want to give up margin, because that's what's going to happen. So if you're growing and you're on a big trajectory and you're making the money and you can afford it, do it. But if you're like me and you want to protect your margins and keep using that margin to put it back into your business, to reinvest it, to keep going on that trajectory, that's what you got to do. And that's a business decision that only you can make as a entrepreneur. Yeah.
Very true. So I would add to that so for those of you who doesn't know, prep center are the ones, like, if you don't know that, so it's one way of automating your business. So basically what you do is, instead of you prepping the products to make sure that it's ship ready when you send it to Amazon, this company do it for you. So, but the good thing is that you don't touch product at all. So you can buy from your regular store and then ship it to, or your wholesale company, ship it to them and they do the work for you. So basically you don't see your product. It goes shipped into Amazon. Yes, Monique is correct. You need to pay more with Prep Center. And with Prep Center, if you, no matter what, right? Like, win or lose with the product, if you manage to make money on it, if you didn't make money on it, you need to pay them every single product, right? So it will cut down your profit, but it will give you back time. So that's the only thing that's that's the advantage. And giving back time means that you don't need to do anything in terms of that. So you can put that time into working, into growing your business, right? So I myself are the same with Monique. I've been in the same scenario of how I'm so protective with my business that I don't want to do it. I think for me, if you don't have plan, like to travel, like for example with me, I don't have time to travel. You want to help people. Like, for example, you want to help your parents, you want to help your cousin. They can pack for you. Then, doing the prepping and packing is okay in your house, right? Because at least you help people. You're in charge of your operation. You can see everything. If there's mistake, you can correct it and stuff like that. But if you feel like, okay, I want to really have a massive business, grow it big into multi-million-dollar company, then prep center or third party a company like this is the way to go, because
Yeah.
all you need to focus on is actually the buying and operational of your business, and then you don't need to do the legwork, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll do it at some point. I got to give up control at some point around that, especially if you want to grow and make even more money. And that's fine. I'll do it. I've just been, doing it at my own pace in my own way that works for me and my lifestyle right now. And to be honest, I really am done touching product. My house is a disaster. It's a bit of a messy business. In reality, it's very, it's just a disaster in here, where I don't even want to have anyone over, because I'm like, well, you know what I do, but then they're looking at all the products. Oh, you sell that, you sell that, and I'm like, no, I sell data. I don't sell product. The data
With
tells
me,
me what to sell.
we turn one of the area of our house into a warehouse, and then it's closed. When I have guests, it's
Oh
closed.
my
Like,
god.
they're not allowed to go in there because that's our warehouse. So I don't also, I'm not comfortable sharing my products and stuff like that. So it's always closed, and they say like, oh, what's in there? Oh, that's our office. That's it. But I want to ask you, like, is your husband, like, how's your husband with all of this, right? Is he happy? Is he annoyed? Is he helping you?
Is he happy? No. Is he annoyed? Yes. Is he happy helping me? No. He doesn't want to do that either. He's like, I think he dreads it, like when he sees all the product coming in the door and the deliveries day. I work from home, so I love it because I can accept everything right at my front door, and I can bring it into my living room. Literally, my living room is the prep center. My house isn't that huge, so it really is a lot, unless we move down to the basement. But my issue is I don't want to go up and down the stairs with all these boxes, or upstairs up and down with all the boxes. So we deal with it in our main living room. So I think he'll be happy too the day that we decide to go out to a prep center. But I mean, he grumbles, but he's doing it. There's no getting away from doing the work. Like, you're going to help. You live here, you work here.
And I guess it's paying for some R&R, right? Like vacations and stuff. So you can't
Vacations,
complain.
yeah,
You can't
because I
complain.
don't take any money out of the business. So I think that's another misconception that a lot of people have. Like they want to take money out of the business immediately. I don't take anything out of the business. It all just looks really pretty on paper. That's it. Every dollar that I make, I put back into the business to reinvest, to keep trying to grow it. That's it. And really, my benefit is on the points. So Aeroplan and Amex Platinum card, like that's pretty much everything. I can use these points for flights and vacations, and that's the best part. And that's literally how we're paying ourselves right now, right? Is with travel time. But even then, I'm always like, I don't want to go away for 7 days, because then I'm not shipping for 7 days, which is why I want a prep center, right? So there's a balance there that you need to sort of think about and consider, depending on your lifestyle and what you want and what you can do and what you want to achieve.
Wow. Yes. Points. I'm so happy with points. So that's one thing that's a perk. Like next week we're going to another resort, and it's all for free because of my points, right? So that's amazing. Like 5 days in a five-star resort for free. So that's one of the good thing of that. Like if you are not into points yet, look at that, because if you are doing this business, you buy every single week, it can add up so much pretty quickly, right, Monique?
Yes, very, very quickly. It's amazing. That's the best part of it. In fact, I feel like I look at those points like I look at my bank account every day. I love it.
I love it. I love it. So I have a question for you. How much did you invest in this business? So because you came from 9K. I know that 9K. I think you said 5,000. I forgot
Yeah,
already, but then
five.
now 55, and you're not taking out money, so you have 55K in sales. So did you add any more capital after that?
I have not actually. I took a HELOC out and I didn't use it because I was scared. It just sat there and I looked at it, but I didn't want to use it. So I don't know why. I was going to, in my mind, I was going to like put all this money into Amazon and really put myself on a trajectory, but I didn't feel ready yet. And I just was like, no, I got to keep doing what I'm doing and practicing and doing it the way I'm doing it, so I feel better about it. And really the goal is increasing my capital through my platinum card as they give me more credit to use. And I since actually closed that other HELOC and took a different one at a lower rate because I just found a lower rate somewhere else. And I was like, oh, well, might as well go through all that work again and close it out and just pay a lower interest rate on it. So that was really great. But also having the business helps with that, right? So I'm just not looking to draw down immediately. Like I'll probably draw down after I hit maybe 150,000 gross sales on a monthly basis, which is totally achievable. And I see myself there next year sometime for sure.
Wow. I'll wait for the third interview then. that's
Oh yeah, I got big goals. I mean, I'm like chomping at the bit to hit 100. So I thought I would have done it by now, actually. So I'm a little like peeved at myself because I didn't take bigger risks. And you can't, it's all in like risk management and how much capital you have, which is really what it comes down to, and your knowledge, like your ability to make the right kinds of buys. And listen, we all make a bad buy and we all get returns. So that's the biggest caveat out there. Like you can be an Amazon seller, but it's not a get rich quick scheme. You need to understand the software and the data points, and you're going to have to deal with returns, and that costs money. It all costs money. So you want to make the best educated guess that you can make when you're making a buy, and returns. Well, you got to find a way to move that inventory too. Give it away, sell it. I try to sell everything that comes back, but sometimes you don't have time either. So there's a bit of a growing pile that's accumulating in another room of my house with returns.
But that's amazing, Monique, how from $5,000 investment, you grow your business into 55K working full time. I think that's a really big achievement. I know you have bigger dreams of like 100K, but wow, 55K in like, how many, 18 months, right? 18 months is amazing, amazing. And imagine yourself being, after 5 years of being in this business, like you would know, you're going to be better than me, because you've been constantly learning. So having said that, so because you are a full-time employee and then in a corporate, and then you're still doing full-time with Amazon. So can you tell us the day of your life? I'm curious of how you manage to do everything, and you're packing in your home as well.
How do I manage it? So I'm a really big proponent of time chunking. And I don't know what book I read, something a long time ago. And I was probably just dreaming about it in my sleep one night. Like, how do I manage my time better? And I realized, just like with work, when you're scheduling time to finish tasks, that's what I do with my Amazon business as well, where I commit to, okay, this is the hour that I'm going to take talking to my VA in the Philippines once a week. And this is the time that I'm going to help her through any projects, any problems. What did she do yesterday? What is she doing today? And what is she doing tomorrow? It's like a regular stand-up, like that you would do for tickets or with developers. So that's something that I do in my corporate job. And I always try to glean that information and reattribute it to my Amazon business. So time chunking is a big one. And I also still source myself, even though I have a VA, I'm still like taking that time to source myself. And I always kind of give my husband a heads up, like, okay, it's Monday night. So we're going to prep tonight, Monday, Wednesday, probably a big one, like Saturday, Canada, Sunday, US. And it's 4 times a week. We're going to move what we have because I don't like looking at inventory. Number one, it's a mess in my house. And number two, you don't make money when your inventory is sitting on your floor. So you got to push that out immediately. I do take an hour or 2 a week probably to clean up my site and ensure that I close off listings that I'm not selling on anymore. If I've sold through, I go back and I analyze whether or not I want to pick up that product again or not. I do a lot of like reanalysis sometimes of things. If I think it was a good product, but I don't remember if it's still a good product, and you just want to double check it. So you just have to, before you make another buy. So sometimes I do my test buys and I try to focus on my at least 5 to 10 test buys a week too. Sometimes they're duds, sometimes they're great. And that tells me whether or not I want to reinvest and buy them again, or if I want to find a different source and find it cheaper, or if I want to go out and find a wholesaler that has that product that I want to reach out to in the future. So honestly, I have spreadsheets about my spreadsheets. And that's because I just can't remember every single detail. So my spreadsheets tend to help give me a lot of information that I can go back to and re-reference. And I also use OneNote, believe it or not, which is a free Microsoft product. But I feel like as I'm learning, and I take notes because I can always go back and reread the information from what I'm being taught or told. So I can go back and reference and just remember, like usually a light switch goes off and I'm like, oh yeah, we talked about that, but I made a note about it. Right. And there's videos too. Like usually whoever you're learning from, there's videos that you can go back and rewatch. It just depends on you and how you learn and retain information. But time
Oh,
chunking. That's what I do.
okay.
Time chunking.
So how many hours do you think you spend on Amazon? Like, would you say? I know you work full time, and then so would you say, do you work every day with your Amazon business, and do you
Yeah.
work on the weekend? More or less, how many hours?
I would say at least 20 to 25 hours a week. I focus on the business. So the packing and prepping is a big chunk of time in there, probably another 6 to 10 hours a week, maybe 15 with prepping and packing. So I'm not really counting that because I feel like that's just stuff I do. But another like 10 or 15 with buying products, and I go and pick them up too. Like if I have a big order at a store, I'm driving out to pick it up at the same time. So I would say a total of 20, 25 hours
25 hours.
a
Okay,
week.
so
Yeah,
wow,
probably.
wow, that's amazing. Like side hustle in a way for 7,500 a month with 25 hours, right? So that's
I could
that's
double it if I focused on it full time. No problem. I'm sure of it actually, but it's hard to give up a good salary and do
so
both. Right?
so
Why
when
not? Right?
so do you see yourself quitting your job someday to do full time on this business?
I mean, someday for sure I can see it, but I don't want to give up that full-time income. If they let me go and there's a severance package, I'm just gonna be like, whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna be hurt by it, but I'll probably keep doing what I'm doing for as long as I can stand it. And as soon as I start automating things even more, I think it'll just be easy to do both, like a lot easier to do both, that it won't phase me anymore. Because if I have a VA who's sourcing for me, and if I teach them how to do wholesale, and if I have a prep center and they're touching product, then I'm just looking at it from an operational perspective. So now my hours have significantly reduced, which I think is completely manageable, and I can do it from anywhere, which is the end goal. The end goal is to be a snowbird for me. I want to live in Florida in the winter. I really hate Canadian winters. So that's something
Well,
that's definitely on my radar.
yeah, Monique, if I can do it, so can you, right? So I've been
Yeah,
doing it
I
now.
will. I
So
will.
so you got this. So I want to ask you, what did you do? Okay, so because a lot of people who's watching tonight for sure are curious. What did you do for you to be able to pull it through, like from 9K to 55K in a year? So what are the
Yeah.
massive action you took to be able to get there?
Um, is literally the word action. Like you need to be consistent. You have to be shipping in. You have to be working on your business. You have to be sourcing and shipping consistently. As soon as you get paid, you need to spend that money from Amazon. Like you get that money, it's gone the same day. Buy your product, get it, and get it out the door again. That's it. That's what I did. It's really a heads down approach. And suddenly you look up and you're like, son of a gun, I did it again. I beat my last month's number. And that's my end goal. I look at that last month's number and I'm like, I want to do 30%. I want to have a 30% growth month. If I can do that, I'm successful. And if it's less, I'm not going to beat myself up about it, but I'm going to try. So you really do have to set goals for yourself. Like saying, I'm going to hit 50,000. I'm going to hit 100,000. I'm going to do 300,000. Because if you can do 50,000, I swear to God, you can do 300. It's just a matter of capital. Just get after it. Yep, for sure.
And that's what I one of the core of my course, actually, the beginner's course, is that, right? We focus on setting goals because I also believe, like, that's me also. The reason why I succeed is also because of a goal. I actually heard something today about that. One of the person I always listen to, he said that setting goal is like, driving a car and you know your destination. So if you don't have goals, it's like getting into your car and you don't know where are you going to go, so you might end up in bad places, because you are not setting the destination, right? So goal is like a
Right.
destination, and that's a must. And for you, Monique, like, so I have a planner for you, right? Like, for you guys, I set like exact
Yeah.
same thing of what you're going to do every single week. So which one of those things that I taught you that up to now you're still practicing?
Yeah, I would say that sales goal actually. So that I remember that, and I still write it out on a regular basis. And in fact, I just converted it to my Excel documents. But I always look at how many products do I need to ship in this month, and what's my AOV, average order value, to be able to hit that gross margin, gross sales at the end of every month. So I know exactly how much I need to be shipping in. So right now I'm shipping in 2,000 products a month at an average order value of $30. And that seems to be my sweet spot because that's what shoppers. So it's a little bit of data analytics and back end too. What are people spending on Amazon on a daily basis? How much are they willing to spend on their buying opportunities that they're currently doing? Are they spending $100? Not often, maybe around the holidays in Q4, but the AOV is actually around $30. So if you're buying a product for maybe 7, 8, 12 bucks and you're selling it for 30, that's a pretty good net margin minus all your fees that you're, taking at the end of the day. So if you can take that one ASIN and do that, I'm not going to say 2,000 times, but maybe it's not 2,000 products. It's more like 250, let's say, give or take, like up and down out of stock rates. But if you can do like an analysis based on those numbers, yeah, you're going to get there. And then you really just have to ship in more every month, but you don't want to over ship, right? Because you're going to pay warehousing fees. So you really have to look at, what your sell through rate is and look at your sales history and maybe increase it a little bit if you can, capture those sales a little bit more in your next month. So you really have to you really have to think about it and dig in a little bit deeper. You can't just ship and be like, oh, I'm just going to ship in 100. Well, what if they only sell 10 a month? Why are you shipping in 100? Unless the data tells you that some of your information is wrong, but it's correct possibly somewhere else, or you take an average of the two data points or wherever you're extracting your information from. Yeah, I mean, data is everything, but those charts were awesome and I love them. Like it really got me going and got me off the ground at the beginning to understand and know what I needed to buy, how much I needed to spend, so I could at least get a proper forecast of my sales.
Yep. And that data, actually, that's the reason why I put it in the planner, because that's the most important part, right? Like, that you need to actually know all this data for you to be able to analyze your business, right? So with you, how many times a week do you ship now? Like, for your US and for your Canada?
4 for sure total. Yeah.
Wow. That
One to
you're
two big shipments for the US and definitely 2 or 3. So I'm saying 4, but maybe it could be 5. It depends how much inventory I've got sitting in my living room that I can't stand to look at.
Wow,
And
actually, like, we're in similar. I think we're in similar style. Like, that's what I did too. Like, do you ship only once a week with US?
yeah, the US is a little bit funny because I've got to go out and get those products because it's predominantly grocery, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've got to
Mm-hmm.
get that product and I'm really particular about looking at those expiration dates and I don't trust
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why I want to transition probably from grocery. It's a great start
Mm-hmm.
and it's a great way to
Yeah.
make money quickly and easily, I think. But then you got to like, okay, maybe make that leap and transition to wholesale for the US
Mm-hmm.
market. But it's a great way to sort of increase your net margins quickly so you
Mm-hmm.
can start moving things along at a quicker pace, I want to say. But yeah, about 4 or 5 times a week for sure. Like UPS is always here. They're dropping something off, they're picking something up. That guy, like he knows my dog, he knows our names. He's like Yeah, you hear a lot.
That's relationship, right? I always say that. Build relationship because it will always comes back to you in so many different ways. So
Relationships pretty much are everything in every aspect of this business. And anyone who does this as a lone ranger is a fool. you need
yeah,
you need people.
you need community, right, for you to be able to get to
Community.
where you are. So with you,
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Looking back, right? So after 18 months, what are the things that you wish like you did when you were new? Like what are the learnings that you can share to the audience today? Like things that you wish you did when you were new, or you listened to, or like things that you're still doing now.
Yeah, that's a good
Looking
question.
back to your experience from before, right?
So, I could look back and say, I wish I spent more money up front, but no, actually, that's a double-edged sword. Like, you need to learn the process first and be comfortable with the process and understand it before you start spending more money. We've seen people fail at this business. I've seen a lot of people fail at this business and they lose a lot of money and then they're angry and they blame and they say it's a scam. And it's like, no, you just didn't pay attention to the steps and the process and follow it. So everyone has to work at their own pace and figure it out. So what do I wish I would have done sooner? For me, I think I probably could have sold in the US sooner. I probably should have started selling wholesale 6 months ago, but I'm busy. And things slow down for me in January. So timing is pretty much everything. Um, I don't regret that I haven't gone with a prep center sooner. I think I'm doing it at my own pace and the way I want to run my business. I know for sure I'm going to hit 100, 200, 300,000 a month. I will. I know I will. It's just, I'm not desperate and I have a full-time job and it's a great job. So I'm going to do it and I'm going to get there, but I've got to do it kind of in my own learning style. And I really don't want to do things willy-nilly. Like, I really want to absorb and understand and do it the way that I think I need to do it to be successful. So I don't know what else I wish I would have done differently. I think I'm kind of just carving out my own path. Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to do it, because different people will have different seasons of life, right? So with you, you need to see where you are and know like what you need to do in your own way. Like, don't compare yourself with others constantly, right? I think that's the best advice I can give, because if you keep on trying to be like other people when you're not in the right time, then it won't work out for you, right? So
Right. Yeah.
you always mention VA, right? So that you have a
Yeah.
VA. Did it help you a lot? Like, did you see a lot of changes in your business because you hired a
Um, so this is a tough one. So I hired a VA and I was kind of frustrated at the beginning and I realized,
VA?
she needs a little bit more hand holding than what I had expected. So I really had to hunker down and spend a little bit more time with her to really help her understand the way I source and the data points that I'm looking for, and that I need her to understand in a better way. So, man, I sent her so many videos of content and information, and I'd have her watch, stuff to learn because I needed her to be as good as me. Right. That's the thing. We can't, it's very hard to duplicate ourselves. Right. So you need someone who can take a task from you and just free up some time. So at the beginning, let me tell you, I had a hard time, but I hung on with her because I like her as a person. But I was like, but in a business world, I would have fired her. But I didn't want to do this to the girl, right? I wanted to help her along, and she's come up better. But she only works 20 hours a week for me. And I think that's enough. And she's just doing things through tactical arbitrage, and she does some storefront stocking, and it's what I've been able to teach her along the way. And she's good. And sometimes if she says, I could do more this week, I'll be like, okay, you want to work 4 extra hours? Fine. Let's do it. That's fine. I'll pay you for it. So we have a pretty open relationship regarding that. And she only started with me, I think, April of this past year. So she's been around since April, May, June, July, August, September, 7 months, almost 6.5 months. So yeah, I just decided I needed to try to free up some time, and it has helped free up some time. But there are weeks where she doesn't give me as many deals as I would hope. So we try to review those deals together, why I wouldn't use those. And that's time again, right? Like, this is why I wouldn't buy these products. And this is what you need to pay attention to. So we're still doing things like that. And then if there's not enough deals that she's found, well, guess who's doing it? You are. It's your business, right? You got to get in there and
Yeah.
figure it out. And then I have to, you know, decide, okay, what do I, how much time do I have this week to spend on sourcing, which is the one thing that I wanted to outsource. And I actually kind of like sourcing. So I'm really okay with it. And based on this new skill sets that I've learned from sourcing, it's been good for me. And yeah, it's good. It's
So
fine. It
I
is what it
actually
is.
had a lot, like there's a lot of follow-up questions from our audience tonight, but I will do it
Sure.
later regarding VA because a lot of people are actually curious about that. So we'll
Yeah.
ask that question after. So um, I have a few more questions for you. Hopefully, you're okay to go a little bit more than what we said we will. But
Sure.
um,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to a lot of new Amazon seller there, or for those who are still in the fence, like who's not sure if they want to do this business? What advice would you want to give them? Because there might be people here who are very new. There might be people here who are not even selling on Amazon yet, but they're just curious.
Yeah. So I think the biggest takeaway that for new sellers is um, do your research, but don't give up on yourself so quickly. There's always opportunity out there, and there's a million ways to $1,000,000. You just have to decide what's going to work for you in your life and what you need to do, right? So what's your energy level like? What's your personality like even? So I think there's a lot of soul searching that you need to decide on. And how much money do you have to spend at the very beginning to get into this business, right? Like, if you're not confident in your selling ability on Amazon or understanding Amazon's terms and conditions, it's big business, right? They're not messing around. It's not like ship it in and go make some money. If you ship the wrong product in, guess what? You might you might get suspended before you even got started. So I would say learn everything you can. Try to understand the business. I jumped right in with both feet, but I felt confident in my learning ability and progression. So if you are confident in yourself and your learning ability and that you can probably run a business, then you'll be okay. But know that there's going to be some ups and downs and headaches and challenges. Inevitably, it's going to happen. So yeah, I just try to find confidence in yourself. Like, just if you don't have confidence in yourself, I think you just have to, what did I say at the beginning of our call? Oh, believing you can do is more profitable than believing you can't. So believe you can and you will.
Yeah. I always said that if they say if you can think it, if you can think it, it can happen, right? So what you think, you become. So if you want to become a successful entrepreneur, not just an Amazon seller, I always say that Amazon selling is just one way of you becoming an entrepreneur, and the end goal for this is not just becoming an Amazon seller, but actually to become a full-time or full-fledged entrepreneur. And Amazon is just one of your business, right? So would you say that the skill you learn as an Amazon seller help open up your ability to become a really good entrepreneur?
Yeah. So, I mean, this isn't my first foray into business. So this has just been the biggest business I've been able to create for myself since becoming an entrepreneur. And yeah, I'm very happy with it. I mean, there's times where I'm like, oh, so someone will talk about something and I'm like, oh, I need to do that. I didn't even think about that. Like it could be, let's say, accounting. Let's say you're doing all your own accounting and you realize someone was telling you that you could use QuickBooks to do this task, and you were like, wow, I'm going to start simplifying my accounting features and hiring an accounting and having someone else do it. Like, you don't necessarily need to do everything yourself, right? You can pay someone to do some of these things for you. So as an entrepreneur, yes, you definitely want to invest some money in hiring the right people to surround yourself with to help you to be successful. You need to do that for yourself. You can start this and do it on your own, but hiring the right people is going to be key to your success, whether it's coaching or accounting staff or a VA or prep center. Those are all, components to operating a business. And from an operational perspective, the more you can work on your business instead of working in your business, I think the better opportunity and entrepreneur you will be.
Mm-hmm. So I have 2 or 3 more questions before we jump into the Q&A. So number one, last two maybe. In your opinion, what is the key to your success?
So I would say surrounding yourself with the right people, community, the right coaching path for you, and then growing and learning additionally. So you can start with a beginner program, but you definitely have to open your eyes and learn additional skills to become better at selling on Amazon, because the best of the best out there, they're doing things that are a little bit more complicated. And if you want to sell and you want to make real big dollars, and you want to live in that competitive space, then you have to learn how to do those things. I would say that the next would be, as soon as you can get yourself a business platinum credit card and build credit, do it. Like, immediately find ways to get capital and credit. If you want to grow and scale your business, capital is king, and you need to find a way to get the money. Start researching and figuring out, borrow money from family, take out a loan, get a HELOC, get a corporate card, start finding a way to get capital. Because if you really want to take this seriously, you need the funds to make it happen. Unless you got a sugar daddy at home, you got to find a way to do it.
Yeah. And what else?
Yeah, I would say be patient with yourself, and you'll still find success at the end of the day, right? Just stay positive. Everyone will get there eventually. And if it's all becomes too much for you, then maybe you do have to throw in the towel. I mean, that's the reality of things. I'm not going to candy coat it. You're going to work.
Yeah,
Real work.
and
It's real
you
work.
need to know. You also need to know if business is really for you, right? So,
Yeah.
having a business is very, like, a lot of people have an impression that, oh, it's an online business, it's gotta be easy, and then when there's times that it's gonna get tough, they just quit, right? But the truth is, even in a brick and mortar store, big companies, right? They constantly need to have, like, if there's no, I always say this, if it's not challenging enough, it means that you're not learning, and you need to push yourself to have some challenges for you to be able to know that you're succeeding in that, right? So before I go into the last question, I want to say, for those of you who are interested in opening AMEX, so I'll put in the description below, for those who are watching YouTube, I will put a free link for AMEX. I do have that, and it can give you extra points. Okay, so that's what I've been doing. That's what Monique have been doing. And I think you really need to be good with your credit card. In my course, I have a lot of tips on that, because that's what I've been also enjoying since I was new, on how you can hack a lot of things to be able to get freebies as an Amazon seller, right? So, okay, so before we jump in, so what is your goal for the last question? What is your goal for at least next year?
Yeah. Well, for this year, I hope to hit 100,000 at Christmas. So let's keep our fingers crossed for December. That's a big jump from where I am today to December, but honestly, we see huge sales growth opportunities when Q4 hits, and we're in it right now. So we're just not in the thick of it yet, because we have those 5 or 6 weeks of that sweet spot of selling time. Next year, yeah, I definitely hope to be $1 million seller next year by the end of the year, guaranteed. 1.2, 1.6. Yeah. That's my goal next year.
Let's claim it. Like I want to see your progress. I want to know where you're heading. I wanna do another interview with you once we hit the $1 million. Okay, promise
I'll
me
let
your
you know. I'll
interview.
be bouncing off the walls when that happens. Trust me.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's go to the Q&A. Okay. So some people have questions here. One question is, at what point will you recommend to include prep center? Could you recommend any?
Yeah, so there's lots of prep centers out there. I haven't gone to a prep center yet, but you may have heard me say I will by February, March next year is going to happen. I happen to live in Ontario, so I'm going to use a prep center here near me. I've already interviewed a couple. I know Cheryl uses Red Hat Prep,
Prep.
and I've already talked to those guys, and I like them too.
Yeah.
Probably go with them.
So with me, I'm
One
just
of them,
comfortable.
yeah, but I'm actually looking at multiple prep centers. Like, honestly, if you want to get product over the border in the US and Canada, you got to look at every province and state and think about how that's going to work, like logistically. So you start with one, but you definitely got to grow your business. You're going to open more. You're going to have more prep centers.
Yeah, in our free group, for those of you who doesn't know, we have a free group for Amazon selling for Canadians. The link will gonna be on the bottom description for the YouTube. With that, they're starting to actually, like, I'm noticing that there's a lot of new prep centers. One thing is that you need to make sure that you try them first before jumping. You can interview them, right? Check that out. I don't know because for me, I only use Red Hat Prep for all my prepping, and I've been with them for so long. I'm happy with them. It's easy to communicate. So for me, communication is the key to Prep Center because if you
Yeah.
can, it's hard to get hold of them. Then I get nervous with my products, right? So for me, that's the most important part. Okay, so which card she is using for the reward? So with you, are you major on AMEX too?
Yeah, so I have an AMEX Platinum business card, and I'm using that to capitalize on for the most rewards. But you can also, I mean, there's lots of rewards programs out there too, like Arrow plans, and then you can double dip by using your Amex card. So I think just using some of those tactics to get the most points possible from your buying is key, because if you're spending 25,000 a month on product, right, that's a lot of points that you could be double dipping on if you manage it correctly. So if you're using Aeroplan and then you're using your Amex card on top of it, it's great for all of your business purchases. You should be using a platinum card if you don't have one. There's lots of cards out there. Talk to your bank. I just happen to prefer an Amex Platinum business card.
Yeah.
I don't know any big seller with Amazon that doesn't have a platinum card, to be honest with you, right now.
Yeah.
Like,
So
that's the way to go.
Amazon, no, Amex Platinum have a fee. You need to know that,
Oh, yeah,
but
this big fee. Yeah.
big fee. But they offset that with the points that they give you right away, right? So once you sign up, you can get points more than the
They give you 20,000 up front and another 20,000 like after a year. So you get 40,000 points, and then you're like racking them up anyway throughout the year. Like
yeah.
racking them up.
Yeah, so that can also be a business expense actually because you're using it for the business. But if you don't have, you can try to ask your bank. So for example, just make sure that they have good rewards points. Like RBC have, like, for example, Avion, Infinite. I also
Yeah.
use them for the points. For example, if you want freebie in Canadian Tires, because sometimes even the small stores, they would have like times 20 or so times something that would give you free. So you just need to research for it. I think you're my student, right? So you can go into the section for the module for the credit card. I gave you a lot of tips on that, on what to do. Check on that as well. So could you please provide insights on product decision making while selecting? Insights on product decision making while selecting. Um,
Well, it looks like it's from Umesh.
yes.
So you don't have Keepa, you need to buy it. And if you don't know how to use it, you need to learn it, because it's pretty much the one piece of software you need more than any other piece of software to help you with all of your product decision making of products. Like, you need to have Keepa and you need to learn how to use it, period.
Yeah. So someone is asking us here, which tool are you using to analyze the quantities? I guess if you are wanting to know like how
Keep
many
it.
should I sell in a month. So Keepa is your main. What are the software that you are using? Like
I
for
feel like
you.
it's a lot. So Keepa, Seller Amp. I should have wrote them all down, but I use Tactical Arbitrage and Smart Scout. Um, Nepeto is kind of out there, but it's just kind of like on. I don't really use it enough, so I haven't actually bought a subscription on that guy yet. Um, I have. I actually have Rev Seller too, which I don't need, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I use it sometimes. I'm just kind of moving back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, keep a.
Do you still have Helium 10? I know you subscribed with Helium
No,
10
I got
before.
rid of Helium 10 because I was going to get into bundles. And
Okay.
I was working through it and I decided I really like their analyzer, but I just decided to have to, I didn't want to pay that 110 whatever bucks a month and I had to let one
Yes.
go. It was the one that
Okay.
had to go. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you. So different people have different ways of searching, researching. So whatever is you're comfortable. So I would say try as much as you can and then keep the one that you're noticing you're using consistently because it's your preference, right? At the end of the day in terms of your the way you're looking at things. Okay, so what do you do with your returns?
Well, if I can't resell them on Amazon because they're damaged, I give it away. I wrap it up for Christmas as a joke. I if it's still in decent condition, I sell it on Facebook Marketplace. I haven't even bothered with eBay. But honestly, I'll just post. Sometimes I just give it away to my buy nothing group here in the
Mm-hmm.
community that I live in.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a bigger thing like an appliance and everything looks good about it, I just reduce the price that I paid for it by about 20% and I just unload it that way. Just it's cash, so it's whatever.
Mm-hmm. And
Just get rid
also,
of it.
I think you can also sell if it's still usable and it's still good, but it's just that new condition. You can also resell it on Amazon as used.
Yeah, it's
You can
used.
actually do that as well if you want.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have high ticket items that I did that reselling it for used and it still works.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many leads your VA give you per week? So you said 20 hours per week that your VA is working for you.
Yeah.
How many
She
leads do
probably
you
gives
get?
me 20 to 25 leads a week. Yeah.
20 to 25 leads a week. So do you monitor her or you just say, okay, as long as you can do this for me, I'm okay with it?
I don't care. As long as she's giving, I don't want to keep a thumb on somebody, right? And I like her. And to be honest with you, like I could time track her time, but it's $4 an hour. It's not gonna make or break me. She gets me my leads every day. There's something in my inbox. I review what she gives me, 4 or 5. Sometimes they're all duds. Sometimes they're all great. It's not easy sourcing. It's not for everyone. And she's trying her best. And we go through them. If there's too many bad leads, we talk, and we go through it again. And we work through it. And honestly, she's a good person. She's a hard worker. She tries really hard. And we really do try to work together and she usually gets me some bangers, so I'm happy with that. Yeah, 20, 25 a
Mm-hmm.
week is what I'm getting.
Mm-hmm. Marvick is also asking, what tasks do you give your VA? So aside from research, do you give her other tasks? How many,
Nope.
how do they get paid? So with you, did you connect yourself to a company or you pay on your
GetLoop.
own?
So I pay her through GetLoop, right? So I do the exchange from USD to peso, and that's how I pay her is through GetLoop. And I just do it once a week and pay her in full on a weekly basis. And what tool is she using for analyzing? Well, Keepa. I bought her a Keepa. I bought her a
Mm-hmm.
subscription to Keepa, and she also does some storefront stalking through Seller Amp, and she's also connected to my tactical arbitrage. So, yeah, I'm trying to teach her as much as I know. And sometimes I'm not even sure if I know the right thing, but I mean, we work through it, and I just go back and learn information from the sources that I have access to, and I try to keep helping her along with that process. But so far, so good.
Mm-hmm. So She mentioned about GetLoop. So GetLoop is sort of like a financial company, but non-traditional. It's focused on people who's doing businesses in Canada. You need to apply to them. So if you're interested, watch the video in my YouTube channel. So at the bottom, there's a description there, and that's the link where to apply. So with me too, I also do it with Loop. One of the best part is that you don't need to pay fees, right? So if you are doing, so Monique, you're doing weekly. With me, I'm 1530. So I pay my VAs monthly. So
Mhm.
1530 every 15th, so twice a month. I don't need to pay any extra. So with weekly, it's a lot. If you are going to send by a, like for example, remittance or something, that's a lot of money. It's like $5 maybe per week. But with Get Loop, they don't charge anything at all, and it's very quick. 24
Yeah,
hours,
very
VAs get it, right? So
And that's why I do it weekly with her because there's no cost to me for it. So it's fine. I'm
yeah.
okay with, otherwise I would do every 15 days or something like that. But GetLoop is great for that reason. And they give you a US card, right, that you can utilize and start for shopping in the US market too. So there's a lot of things. I think you did a whole
Mm-hmm.
interview with GetLoop, right, Cheryl? So if people are interested, they should just watch.
Yes, yes. So just watch the whole interview so you would know what they offer, but it's actually a great company. So, so you already answered about the software. Which method is your best sourcing method? So we know the different sourcing
Keepa,
methods.
Keepa. Learn
Do
Keepa
you?
minimum. I mean, there's other methods like tactical arbitrage and smart scout, but if you're a beginner, you need to learn Keepa. That's it. You have to learn Keepa. You're going to sink real fast if you don't learn that software.
So do you do a lot of? Are you more on like looking at other people's product, or do you do it like reverse sourcing and stuff like that too?
Yeah, so I'll run a storefront through tactical arbitrage, and sometimes I'll go to someone else's storefront and I'll pull their ASINs and I'll drop that into tactical arbitrage and I'll run it against, that seller, right, and see if there's any products in there that I might be interested in picking up. I'll pick up products from um, Smart Scout even and run it through Keepa, and I'll do like run an analytic that way. But it's all
Mm-hmm.
data analysis. Everything you do with Amazon is literally data analytics. Like that's how you're going to make every single buying decision.
Mm-hmm.
And it's skills. You have to learn these various skills to get better at selling on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. And with that, you can also do that with Keep a Product Finder, right? It's just the
Yes.
different data, but you can also do it.
Yep.
Lace did it, showed it
Yep.
in the mastermind. So that's another way of doing it as well. For those of you who attend the
Yes.
mastermind, you can actually do that as well, similar, right? So
Yep.
it says here, I know you mentioned Amex. What Amex? What other cards do you use? They're curious.
So I ended up getting, honestly, I was trying to win tickets to Taylor Swift, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get an RBC Avion card because they were doing some kind of a promotion there. So I picked one of those up, but I already like spent the money, paid it off, and closed the card. I'm like, I don't want this card anymore. So
So
I
really
mean, I do
Amex.
predominantly Amex. Yeah, that's like my go-to. But at some grocery stores, you can't use American Express, so I use my business bank card,
Then that's
right? And I'll
it.
just like the cash that's in my bank account, I'll just do it that way. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Right.
I
Or
guess
Visa.
you should. Is that with RBC, you should just get a business card so that at least you still get a point, you know?
Yeah, I'm actually, because I closed out a whole bunch of cards, I'm actually shopping again for new cards. Honestly, it's because you get new points every time. So it's a bit card hacky, but you gotta do it because you get so many points. So you gotta get them
Yeah.
and spend them. But get something with an arrow plan. If vacationing is key for you, like I know TD has a good one out right now that I'm looking at.
So with
I'm always
Avion,
working
I think Avion Infinite, I have that because with us, there's
on it.
four
Yeah.
of us. So if you want to get lounge passes. So with Amex, you are only allowed to one and a guest, right? So I want to give you a tip. But if you have the Avion Infinite, so you also get passes there. So you can, if there's, for us,
Yeah.
there's four of us. So that's why we always
Yeah.
get a lounge pass because of the two cards that I've been using. So I get the extra
Yeah.
two from the other one. So maybe look into
Right.
that.
For us, it's just three of us, right? So me, my husband, and my son. So I just got a secondary card for my husband, and then we're always whatever. We use all the
Have.
lounges too. I like the lounges. Some of the lounges kind of suck, but I like the booze, so I'm good there.
Yeah, yeah. So if you like to travel, that's the way to do it, right? So what helped you scale? So we asked you about that. I like what you said. I sell data, not products. Did you at the beginning find yourself getting attached to a product that was doing well and then suddenly, I guess,
Sure.
back down?
Oh, yes, that happens all the time, pretty much every month. So don't get hung up on products because they come and go very quickly. So it'll sell good. And then that's why you always have to recheck your data points, right? So before you buy it again, double check, make sure it's still a profitable product. Then go ahead and put in maybe a bigger secondary order for that. But you always have to pay attention to your data points. So I used to think, oh, yeah, this is such a great selling product. I'm going to see how this goes. But you know what? They come and go. If you hang on to a product for 3 months, I've learned that's a banger, but they don't stick around for that long, which is why you always have to keep testing new products. You have to, because you have to keep finding new products. They
Yes,
come and go
that's
so fast.
that's the strategy of I think that's a strategy really for wholesale and arbitrage. Even wholesale, you cannot like yes, there will be longer shelf life for products, but it can still tank down, right? So if you don't want anything tanking down, so which is supposed to be the bundle, but I've heard that bundle they're crushing the bundle now. They don't
Yeah.
want bundles anymore, right? So private label, but
Turn
I would,
bundles.
yeah, I would suggest if you're doing private, if you want to do private label, make sure you know already what you're doing. As you can see, Monique here plans to do private label right in the beginning, right? But then
Mhm.
you realize that
Yeah.
that's not the easiest path that you can take. It will work and it can work really well for you, but you need to know first the in and out of Amazon selling before touching
Yeah.
that.
And I come from a private label. Like the brand that I work for is essentially private label. So I know and understand it. But if you have private label, just know you're going to have to put a lot of marketing dollars behind that to be successful. And even then, um, you almost have to find a product that's not so easily duplicable because a Chinese seller will probably just pick it up and rip you off anyway and be selling that same product at a lower rate in a month. So now here you are, you're doing the same thing, right? As OA, you got to find a new product to resell on a private label front and to get your money back. So, I mean, it's a little bit dicey and it's kind of a roll of the dice. Again, it comes down to data and what's happening in the market and research. So that's what Helium 10 is really good for, Jungle Scout. If you want to go that route, and I don't want to, I mean, if I got 30 grand burn a hole in my pocket someday and I want to make a private label, maybe I'll do it, but I'm not looking to burn up that kind of cash so fast when I can, make that, the money that I want to make this way.
So would you say that arbitrage is really like the fastest way to really make money on Amazon?
Yeah, yeah. Like when you're just starting out, you need that money so that you can go get to wholesale, right? So you have to do you basically this is the answer, right? You got to do RAOA and you got to hunker down and you got to make the money because you need that capital so you can do the bigger buys on a wholesale level. Because unless you're doing like group buys with other people and you're splitting the costs, which people do that, but I mean, if you want to be doing it on your own, then you want to build that capital and have it so that you can find your wholesalers and make those $5,000 product buys in one clean shot. But you're still taking a gamble because maybe you're only buying on 1 or 5 ASINs in an order,
Mhm.
right? So I think you have to think about your strategy, where
Yeah.
you want to
So we
go.
have a few more questions here before we end. So aside from the beginner's course that you took from me, what did you take other courses for you to be able to get to where you are?
Yes, I have. So I have signed up with an additional coach as well, and I have done some other courses in the U.S. I've taken advantage of everything that I can afford to do, and I think it's really important that everyone looks at where they're at in their selling journey and their skill set. I think Cheryl does an excellent job of getting you off the ground as a beginner and learning what you need to learn, but you need to master that skill set. And you know what? The group is fantastic. It's a great community. You'll glean a lot of information from that group. And I think at some point, you can always be a part of multiple groups. Everyone
Yes.
should, because there's so much information out there. You just need to find your trusted resources, and make that decision to invest in yourself first.
Yes, and that's
Absolutely.
what I would recommend. So I focus on beginners, but I always recommend that after you learn the beginning process of Amazon, look at other ways to grow yourself, right? So I'm not the only coach in the business. Look for other people that can surround yourself. Basically, so if you want to become successful, surround yourself with people that you want to become. So that's a good way for you to find other coaches out there who you can relate to. Who do you want to become? Are they doing well on that? So you can also do that. If you can afford one-on-one, um, you know, buying courses is the way to go. So I myself, if I want to learn something, even not on Amazon, other things I want to learn with my daughter and stuff, now I buy courses. Because I realize that the fastest way for you to get the skill set that you need through somebody who went through the same process. So for example, my daughter wants to learn art and we bought a course together because I want to do art with her. So I bought a course so that we can do it together, something like that, right? So if you want whatever you want to become, if you want to move on to wholesale, you want to move on to private label, look for the right coach that will teach you and get you there. Make sure that reputable, you know that they are doing it, and you know that they had the experience, so that you can just mimic it, basically copy it. So a lot of you who are new here or who've been with me is because I had the experience and I just teach you what I know, and that's why Monique is here as well, because I showed what I know and just copied it. It's a system, right? You copied it and it works. So if you want to do
Yeah.
the work, you will see the results. So
Yeah.
last one question from them. So two, sorry. Tactical
Sure.
arbitrage, is it easy to use? So Bia is asking.
Not at the beginning. No, I'm not going to lie. There was a lot of swearing at the computer when I started with TA, but you know what? Again, hire the right resources, learn how to use it properly, and then go back and rewatch those videos and do it again and again and again until you get really, really good at it. It's a learning process, and depending on your learning style and how you absorb information, everything in this business is pretty much replicable. Like it's just doing it and doing it and doing it until you get good at it, and trying to understand the information that you're absorbing in that moment. And don't throw in the towel so easily. You just gotta, you know, hunker down and focus. That it's not easy at the beginning. It sucks actually, but
Yeah.
give it
To
some
be
time.
Yeah, to be honest with me, I'm one of those who gave up on tactical arbitrage because it's just not for me. Like my brain can't really like function with it, and I found a way to do it in a different way. So it's up to you. So what I would suggest with different, because there's so many software there, look for what clicks on you, and then
Yeah.
if you feel like this is the one that's giving you tons of products, then stick with it. That's why, for example, with me, I use RevSeller, and a lot of people say, "Oh, go already with the seller amp," right? But I'm okay with RevSeller already. I it's okay with me, so I'm sticking with it. So I don't want to change my process because I make same money as what others do, or I can find a lot of products with it. So that's one thing. That's your job as a beginner. Find that right product for you, right software for you, and then stick with them, get better with it, right? So how deep do you go on your first order and then on your replans?
Okay, so that's a good question because I think it comes to your confidence level. So at the very beginning when I started, no more than 10. 10 was my limit, maybe 5, right? And I would ship it in and I would give it some time and see if it started selling right away or not. And if I had to sit on it too long, I knew that it wasn't going to be a fast seller. And some products just move faster than others. So I think finding those, and it's okay to wait for a sale if you have inventory in there. I think it depends on you and how fast you want to see your returns. So everyone always says inch deep, mile wide, and it's true. It's 100% too. You got to spread your wealth out, right? So if you go too deep, and you've bought too many, and the sell-through rate doesn't correspond to how many you've shipped in, you're going to be paying a warehousing fee, and that's going to be sitting there for you. So you have to pay attention to your data. Your data tells you how much you should be shipping in. So if you're confident based on the Keepa history that that product is going to sell 100 in a month, and you want to take that gamble, ship in 100, right? But if you don't and you want to give it a shot anyway, but you want to maybe buy a little bit more, maybe ship in 20. But again, this is a personal decision, right? So what's the best answer at the beginning? 10, right? You're just starting, you're just learning. You got to, protect your capital, spread it out a little bit, make sure, you're going to get some money back from Amazon. And if it looks good, okay, that's great. But if you go too deep, don't forget the price can tank and then you're out that money anyway. So be careful and look at the sell-through rates. You have to pay attention to that. You just do. And do it month over month, 6 weeks, maybe top end. Pay attention.
Very good advice, Monique. And that's one thing that I learned as a seller who's been selling for 7 years. There's no such thing as you can in wholesale arbitrage. It's all the same. You really need to pay attention because sellers can come and go, and they can tank down the listing if they don't know what they're doing.
The brand,
and you get
the brand
stuck,
can come on and sell it at MAP pricing, and then you're done. I mean,
yeah,
they can kick you off anytime they want too.
At the end of the day, it's really about what's your risk, what's your risk tolerance, right? Because so I know some sellers who would buy hundreds because they would stock up on that. And for me, that's scary, and I don't like that, right? So that's why I'm teaching you on how to do it, because I know I get burned over and over too before. So no matter what, for me, my max maybe is 30. I can send 30 each week, but I know that it's slowly so that it can, if it's really fast selling, right? But maybe 20, something like that. But the usual one is 15 to 20 when it's been tested for so long.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've shipped in 100 of a product before, and that's knowing that the product sells 1,000 in a month or something. No problem. I'll do it for sure.
Okay, so Miklit says, so we're going to wrap up this interview. Miklit says, you are such an inspiration. Keep going. And Nicole, hi, Nicole. Nice to see you tonight. I'm happy. I've been not getting in contact with you a lot. So very insightful. Congratulations on your success, Monique. Very inspiring. So for those of you who are asking for the course that Monique took is the beginner's course, which is Start, Grow, Profit course. I would put a link down below with some discount for you guys if you're interested. And for the final word, okay? So what is your final word for those people who are watching who are not sure if they want to join or in this Amazon selling world, or for those who are new in the business, and for everybody?
Yeah, I would say my advice is stop scrolling, start learning. Don't waste your nights on TikTok. You got to get after it. You really do. You got to get learning. You got to commit your time and do something with it. Be active with your progression. Truly. I mean, there's a lot of time that could be spent looking at Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, and just stop scrolling. Start learning.
Very, very good advice, guys, because they say if you are the one who's buying, you are the product, right? So be the one who's selling it. That's my advice. Yeah. When you are on TikTok, Instagram, people are selling to you. Be that person who can make money out of those social media, right? And learn something. Keep on being hungry with knowledge, because that's the only way for you to succeed. Okay, so thank you so much, guys. Thank you for all those who are here. There's so many people. who are here today watching, and I'm really happy that you're here. Be inspired. I put this video and this webinar together for you guys to be inspired, especially for my students. Be inspired with Monique. If she can do it, so can you.